Okay, Year 8, welcome to the second part of this lesson. Let's read the resolution, the denouement, the ending of Button Button and see if any of our predictions have come true. She had just turned over the supper steaks when the telephone rang. She picked up the receiver. Hello, Mrs. Lewis? Yes? This is the Lenox Hill Hospital. She felt unreal as the voice informed her of the subway accident, the shoving crowd, Arthur pushed from the platform in front of the train. She was conscious of shaking her head but couldn't stop. As she hung up, she remembered Arthur's life insurance policy for $25,000 with a double indemnity for... No. She couldn't seem to breathe. She struggled to her feet and walked into the kitchen numbly. Something cold pressed at her skull. She removed the button unit from the wastebasket. There were no nails or screws visible. She couldn't see how it was put together. Abruptly, she began to smash it on the sink edge, pounding it harder and harder until the wood split. She pulled the sides apart, cutting her fingers without noticing. There were no transistors in the box, no wires or tubes. The box was empty. Okay, so let's just recap here very quickly. So Arthur has tragically been killed in a subway accident, and Norma has found out that his life insurance policy, or she remembered, was worth $25,000 with a double indemnity, so suggesting that this insurance policy would double if there was some kind of an accident out of his control. So $50,000 from his insurance policy. Okay, so the consequence for her pressing the button here is really severe, but we might wonder as to why it ends up being Arthur. Okay, let's have a look. She whirled with a gasp as the telephone rang. Stumbling into the living room, she picked up the receiver. Mrs. Lewis, Mr. Stewart asked. It wasn't her voice shrieking, so it couldn't be. You said I wouldn't know the one that died. Dear lady, Mr. Stewart said, do you really think you knew your husband? Okay. So we've got to the end and to that terrifying twist. What do you think he means here? Do you really think you knew your husband? Why didn't she know Arthur? Discuss. Okay, so once you've had an opportunity to either write down or to share what you think about the ending of this story, I'm going to ask you to then respond to it, just like we did with the story The Necklace. I'm going to have a statement that a student has said, and I'd like you to say how far you agree with it and make sure that you can justify your answer with some evidence from the text or reference to the text. So a student has said that the ending of the story emphasises the idea that people are motivated by greed and that Norma didn't understand the value of her husband's virtue. Okay, so his moral goodness, if you like. So I want to know, to what extent do you agree with this? Can you explain your reasons? Remember, you want to say more than just one thing. You're aiming for a full paragraph here. So try and make about 3 separate points. Does this story emphasise the idea that people are motivated by greed? Which of the 7 deadly sins did we say that Norma exhibits? What does it mean to be virtuous? Is that the message of the story here, that Arthur's moral stance was the right one to take? Think about the ending. Did she really know her husband? Okay, pause the video and write your response to this question. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to end then today with a creative task, as we normally would. So you've got some options here. You can build on your opening from yesterday where you had a mysterious package arriving at a character's house. You could continue to write this as a story with a twist. If you don't want to do that today, you might like to just plan instead. Think about our narrative structure. You should have a copy of that in your book. And plot out the basics of a story that are similar to this one. What would be in your mysterious package? Why might it be really tempting to a character? What kind of offerings and strange dilemmas might it create for them? What would be the consequences of using or being involved with the object in your mysterious package? And is there going to be a moral to your story in the twist at the end? So you've got a chance to be a bit creative here. You may wish to work individually or in pairs, writing a story or creating a plan for one. Okay, I'd like to thank you all for your hard work throughout the year. It's been wonderful reading these stories with you throughout this half term, and I wish you all a really lovely and safe summer holiday.